So this is called Hidden No Longer, Genocide in Canada, Past and Present by Kevin D. Annette. Alright. This guy, he has a documentary out called
Unrepentant?
Yeah, Unrepentant, Canada's Genocide or Holocaust. Alright. And he was a pastor which basically dug into information. He got kicked out of the church, and he's been exposing this ever since. You know, he might be a Jake anyway, because what happened was his the top priest, they went to his wife and they told him, listen, we'll pay you however amount of money, a couple, tens of thousands of dollars for you to divorce your husband and take the kids. And that's what she did. And he's still out there, working on exposing these devils, basically. All right. So what we're gonna do? Here, take this. Open it. Make a bar, read it aloud. So read this and then flip it after and read the yeah. Alright, so the brother's gonna read it. Alright, so this is basically an excerpt from a witness that was in the residential schools. Alright, so read it.
I'm Irene Favel. I'm 75. I went to residential school in Musqueam from 1944 to 1949, and I had a rough life. I was mistreated in every way. There was a young girl, and she was pregnant from a priest there, and what they did, she had her baby, and they took the baby and wrapped it up in a nice pink outfit, and they took it downstairs where I was cooking dinner with the nun, and they took the baby into the furnace room, and they threw that little baby in there and burned it alive. All you could hear was this little cry, like, ah, and that was it. You could smell that flesh cooking.
Yeah. And then hold on, I thought priests are supposed to be celibate, man. and that's one account. What they do actually, they pop little boys, man, because they're fucking faggots, man. All right. Yeah, that came out of the staples bags. Yeah, read it. Yeah.
Okay. If James Joyce is right, and history is a nightmare from which we are trying to awaken, then it is also true that victory belongs to those who can remember. 20 years ago, soon after my ordination as a clergyman in the United Church of Canada, I first began to hear stories of what my church had done to innocent children in its Indian residential schools. Like most people, I didn't believe the accounts of murder and torture I was hearing. And if I have kept my ears and heart close to these tales, I would have been spared an enormous personal loss and liberation. But fate and choice forced me not only to listen, but give voice and platform to hundreds, and then thousands of indigenous men and women whose stories you will read in these pages, and as a result, the face of Canada has been changed forever. But the ones you won't hear from are the more than 50,000 children who died from beatings, starvation, rape, and torture, or being deliberately exposed to tuberculosis and left to cough their lives away in squalor and terror, all at the hands of Christian men and women who have never been prosecuted for their crimes.
And that's why the scripture says, prepare a slaughter for his children, if someone can get that. Because these devils, they didn't pick up the tab, man. Right? They didn't get prosecuted, as you just read. So who's going to have to pick up the tab? Your descendants.
Got it.
All right?
I got it still.
All right, good.
Isaiah 14 and 21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers.
Yeah, so all you Edomites walking around, you come from all these from your foreparents. All right. So what they did in the past, you have to pay for it, man. And in the reincarnation, you really are your foreparents anyway. All right. So that's why you have to pay for the crimes, man.
And two, it didn't say that they're going to hell. You know,
Yep.
the fathers are going to hell.
Exactly.
So the children are going to get put to death.
Exactly. Yep.
That
That's
they
right.
do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the face of the world with cities.
Yeah, exactly. So you Edomites, man, you're gonna be at the bottom of the bottom, man, because you're not gonna have land. You're not gonna have Edom anymore. It tells you Judah's gonna possess Edom. All right. So you're not gonna have any land, any lot. At the end of the 1,000 years, you're gonna be exterminated, man. All right. So go ahead.
No, that was it. Or you want me to keep
No,
going?
no,
okay.
brother.
These murdered children lie in nearly forgotten graves across Canada, or their ashes are scattered on sea and land after they were incinerated in residential school furnaces to hide the crime that killed them. But they have not vanished, and their day is coming, thanks in part to the work and campaigns associated with this book.
Yeah. That was it?
Yeah.
That was, all right. So now we're gonna read this is from the same book. It's an ebook. You could type in Google, you can find it. It's part 1, a chronology of the crime genocide in Canada in the modern era. All right, and I have a list. I'm gonna read. I'll read it because I have the list of sections, because there's certain sections I'll read. So these are years basically, and it gives you the outline of what happened. So 1850, it says the indigenous nations of Eastern Canada have been decimated by smallpox and other diseases deliberately introduced by Europeans to barely 10% of their pre-contact numbers. And someone get Deuteronomy 28 about the sickness, the plague. Indian tribes west of the Great Lakes remain mostly untouched by this plague, except on the west coast where Europeans are beginning to settle. 1857, the Gradual Civilization Act is passed in the legislature of Upper Canada, designed to legally eradicate all indigenous nations through enfranchisement, in which land title and nationhood are abolished. 1859, Roman Catholic missions are established at Mission, British Columbia, BC, and in Okanagan by Oblate Bishop Paul Deroux, who with Jesuit helps craft a plan to exterminate non-Christian Indian chiefs and replace them with Catholic-controlled leaders. This Deroux plan will serve as the model for later Indian residential schools.
Oh, I got that. Deuteronomy 28 and 21. The Lord shall make the pestilent cleave unto thee until he have consumed thee from off the land whither thou goest to possess it.
Yeah, and then we just read it, decimated by smallpox. So that's a link right there to Deuteronomy 28.
The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption and with a fever and an inflammation and with extreme burning.
Yeah, let that smallpox, man. If you were a kid and you ever had smallpox, you know what that's talking about. All right, go ahead.
And with the sword and with blasting and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish.
Yep. So back to the document. 1870, the Crown of England establishes a clergy reserve system where Catholic and Anglican missionaries are given hundreds of acres of land stolen from indigenous nations, especially in Western Canada. 1873, the Royal Northwest Mounted Police, the forerunner of the modern-day Royal Canadian Mounted Police, is established as a national paramilitary force with absolute jurisdiction across Canada. Its mandate includes removing all native people onto reservations and clearing a swath of Indian free land 50 miles on either side of the westward expanding Canadian Pacific Railway, CPR, right? 1876, under the influence of former Prime Minister and CPR lawyer John A. Macdonald, Canada establishes the Indian Act, which reduces all Indians and Métis to the status of non-citizens and legal wards of the Canadian state. And they're stupid as hell because Métis are terrors anyway, man.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the same thing with what do they call it? The Moranos?
Which one?
Or the terrors.
In the Latin countries? Yeah.
But there's one in Spain where Khazars, they made it with Moors, and they were called half-breeds, but I forget what it was called.
Yeah.
I think it was, I don't know if it was Morano, but it was a different name. But those are terrors anyway, man.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the next thing about the Via Rail, the railway, a good show to watch is Hell on Wheels, and it'll show you how they'll kill they'll kill anybody to get in, who get in their way just to make the railroad.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good show to watch. Hell on Wheels.
There's real history there too.
It says, henceforth, natives are imprisoned on reserved land, denied any legal status or civil rights, and cannot vote, sue in court, own property, or conduct any actions on their own behalf. Their status as legal wards of the state remain unchanged to the present day. And that's their land. How the hell can they not own property? Right? 1905. Now we're getting to the turn of the century. Over 100 Indian boarding schools are in operation across Canada, 2/3 of them run by the Roman Catholic Church. Massive European immigration and germ warfare have reduced the indigenous populations in the West to less than 5% of the original number. 1920, April 1920. It says a federal law is passed making it legally mandatory for every Indian child across Canada 7 years and older to be incarcerated in Indian residential schools. Non-cooperative Native parents face imprisonment and heavy fines. The number of deaths due to tuberculosis among Aboriginal people will triple in the following decade. 1925, spring of 1925, the United Church of Canada is established by a federal act of parliament to Canadianize and Christianize the foreign-born and heathens. And then they called the Gadites heathens. The Edomites are damn heathens, man. You know?
I got the scripture.
Yeah, bring it up.
Job 15:34.
Read it loud.
For the congregation of the hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. They conceive mischief and bring forth vanity, and their bellies prepare deceit.
Yep, and that's talking about Jake too, man. Because that's the house of the hypocrites, man. Those churches are gonna get burned up in the missiles, man. You know, and that's really talking about Esau. You know, because they conceive mischief, man. All right.
Yeah, building a church, trying to act like they're helping people.
Yep.
Trying to convince their kids.
They call themselves Christians.
Yeah, you know.
And they're the total opposite of that, man. You know. The church is a financially supported arm of the English crown and inherits all the residential schools and stolen native land held by the Methodist and Presbyterian churches. 1927, a British Columbia law strips all Aboriginal people of the right to hire or consult a lawyer or represent themselves in court. And this is 1927, man. This is not 1700s or 1800s, man. All right, this is just about 100 years, man. All right, not even 100 years.